Hello, we're here to talk about research strategies and search tools for your Management 120 semester project. I am Dawn Emsalam. I'm the library director. You can get to me at dawn.emsalam@salve.edu, or if you have questions after this presentation and the activity and our class that we're going to have together, you can Google Dawn Salve Library. So what are we doing here today? First thing is that we are going to be looking at search strategies that will be most effective and efficient, and research tools that will be the most helpful for your Management 120 semester project. And what we're going to be doing is using the knowledge that we gain from this to practice using Statista, Hoovers, and Business Source Complete, which are all library business databases. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is we have to think about a strategy that we're going to use when we start looking for the resources for your Management 120 semester project. So the first thing to ask is what information we need. And to do that, the most important thing is to look closely at your assignment. And in this case, your assignment is very clear. There's a semester project paper rubric in your syllabus, and it has a bunch of stuff that you're expected to find for your semester project. And then you can answer the next question, which is what information is required. And in the rubric, you'll see things like company history, laws and regulations for the industry, economic information generally, your company's top 3 competitors and the organizational structure of your company, and a bunch of other information. So you'll be thinking, okay, I'm looking for these pieces of information. Then the next thing to think about is where you're going to find that information. And the library subscribes to, meaning we pay for, specialized business databases. So we pay to get you access to these. And the reason we have to pay is because they have data in them that costs money to collect and produce. And so it costs money to access it. And that means this is the type of stuff that may not be freely available on Google. And in fact, it's just much quicker when you learn how to use these tools to find the information you're looking for there, because often you can't even find it in Google, no matter how hard you look. The other thing that place we will be looking is article databases, which will have more information about the legal environment and the political environment and social issues and social responsibility. So that will be the best place to answer those questions. And then we have Google, which is, of course, is an excellent search tool, and you can find some information for your semester project there. So then we think about what words we're going to put in each of these tools. And obviously your company name is a big one, and your company's competitor names are also good ones. And then you're going to want to think about words to describe your industry. So the first word that pops into your head for your industry may not be the word that business researchers use when they describe your industry. So you're going to be looking, when you do your search, you're going to try the word that you use, but then you're also going to be looking for other words that describe your industry. So, and the other thing you're going to be looking for is narrower and broader terms. So say, for example, the product your company made was sneakers, you might also search for footwear when you're looking for industry information, or you might even go broader and look for apparel. So you can zoom out or laser in. And then you're going to be thinking about synonyms and words to describe the rubric elements. So social responsibility, there might be words like social entrepreneurship or business sustainability. So you're going to think of other words to describe the items in the rubric. And you don't need to just think of them off the top of your head. Once you do your search and you look through the results that come back, you'll see those words. And it's a good idea to jot them down on a piece of paper while you're searching. The other thing is NAICS or SIC codes. NAICS, North American Industry Classification System, and SIC, Standard Industry Classification System. These are long strings of numbers and words that governments got together and decided to call these industries so that they could trade freely. So the North American industry classification is Canada, the US, and Mexico, and they got together and decided to call these industries the same thing so you could stick them all together and easily collect data on them. So they can open up a whole world of data once you learn the NAICS and SIC codes for your industry. Now, what the next thing you want to visualize is examples of the type of data you need to answer your question. So obviously, we're looking for company and competitor sales and financial data. We may also be looking for industry reports, which can be reports by marketing analysts or projections on where the industry is headed. And then you'll be looking for articles in magazines or journals or trade publications about laws or regulations or other factors that might affect the industry. And then what tools do you need? These are what we're going to be looking at today. Statista, Hoovers, and EBSCO's Business Source Complete. So with that, let's pop out of this and pop into the library's homepage. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to go to databases A to Z, because these are library databases. And then let's look for Statista first. So we'll click on S for Statista. And we'll scroll down alphabetically down to Statista. And so let's say we're looking for info on Hilton, for example. So what we found, I just opened information about investments. So this is data Statista provided us about investments. This is sort of like a gold mine. These are statistics and facts that Statista has all brought together on Hilton worldwide. And there's even what Statista calls a dossier on the topic. So if we click to that, we can download a PowerPoint. If we get that PowerPoint, the beautiful thing about this is that once you click through this, you can take and cite, obviously you'll cite them, but you can just pop those right into your report to illustrate the information you've discovered. So there's a table of contents that gives all of the information that is in the report. And they also have an industry overview. So that includes information about the industry. So the global hotel industry here. And right now you see that you can also see Hilton's leading competitors worldwide. So this is a total gold mine from Statista. Thank you, Statista. I want to point out some other information that Statista has. So let's go back to our results page. So we have our 244 search results. Now, you'll also find that this is like a compilation of statistics, and here's the dossier we opened. Now, along the side here, we see information that this is a way to narrow down our search. So let's say, for example, you were really only looking for information about the United States, and you were getting lots of international information that you didn't think was as useful. So you could scroll down and just narrow this down to the United States. And let's say also that you were seeing a lot of older information, and with COVID, you really wanted to see what was happening with the hotel industry now. So you could limit it by date here. So this is all available on the side of Statista. Now, another thing that we can go down and look at is, let's say we wanted to find more industry information in Statista, and we did a search. You might find that there are other pieces of information that you want to find. So for example, this tells you that there's information about customer satisfaction in Statista, and you might combine your searches. You might do Hilton and customer satisfaction and see if anything comes up. And it doesn't always work out, but it's worth a try. And it did. So that's great. Now let's get out of Statista. We had a very successful search there. We're going to go back. So we're back again. Database is A to Z, and we're going to go to H for Hoovers. So we scroll down, and Hoovers Online is the next place we're going. And what we're going to do is we'll search for another company. Now, this is what Hoovers looks like. We can ignore all this stuff down here. We're going to be searching by your company. And I'll note here that if you click this down, you can also search for industries and other materials. But let's stick to companies for this project. And let's say we were looking for a cheesecake factory, for example. So now there's a bunch of Cheesecake Factory results. And the way I usually try to determine which one I want is the one that has the highest U.S. sales. So this one says public parent headquarters, and this one says private subsidiary headquarters. So I think I'm going to click on this public parent headquarters and see what happens. Okay, so this is going to give us a bunch of information. Right up here, we have an industry. So this is a Dun & Bradstreet Hoovers industry assignment. Then we have this business description, and it gives you a bunch of things that right in Hoovers that your report asks, your rubric asks you for. So this is a little quick company history and some information about the numbers of restaurants and other locations. It even has a SWOT analysis for Cheesecake Factory, which can give you a ton of information right here. And it even includes information on the coronavirus. So this is very useful and for your project. The other thing I would like to point out is if we go back here, we can look at the industry. And here's where you see these NAICS and SIC codes. So not only is this a restaurant, but this is a full service restaurant. This isn't a McDonald's or a Wendy's. So let's click on that and learn a little bit more about this industry. Now here are market research reports, and these can be very useful. I'm going to click on view all 57 of them, and it has it sorted here by date, which is actually very useful to us. But this one, the date is February 2020, so it's a little old. But let's take a look, and you can see what's in this market research report. So this can give you information, even though it's from February, about historical trends. So that's useful, and regulatory and health factors. So these are all very useful for your semester project because these are all in your rubric. Now, this gives you historical information about the Cheesecake Factory or restaurants, but you'll probably be looking for more recent information and projections, and that you may look for in Statista as well and see what is the most recent information you can find in there. So this is just a really quick overview of Hoovers, and just a reminder that you should deeply explore this page that is the welcome page for the company, and go down and look. You even have information about the big people in this company, which is also required, and there's news about your company, and you even have financial and stock information, which is here's stocks as of September and financial as of June 2020. So these are extremely useful. All right, so now that we're out of there, the next thing that we're going to look at in databases A to Z is business source complete. So B for business, and I see business full text. Here's business source premier. And actually, either of these are very good. So we'll click on business full text. It's an EBSCO database, just like business source complete Premier. And what we can do now, this is where we want to look for information about, say, the laws and regulations. So you could type your company here and a word like laws or laws and regulations, maybe that's what they're suggesting, and see what happens. But we only get 3 results here. So what we might want to do, you could take a look at these. This is from 1996, so that's kind of old. So I think what we might want to do is try one of the words for your industry that you found. So it may be supermarkets. And now we're getting a little better. So we have some legal information from 2 years ago. This is an article about, and actually if we click into it, we can find more about what it's about. Here's a little abstract. And what we don't know is what preference liability is, but that's a chance for you to Google something or read the article. Now we're talking about equal pay. This one is packaging and labeling. So this is a lot to learn about what kinds of laws supermarkets have to contend with. And you can get all of these by clicking on HTML full text or PDF full text. And if you like these articles, like say you wanted to get this article, for example, you could click on PDF full text, and then you could download it right here. You can also get the citation for it. Now, if you're using MLA, you can copy and paste your citation right there. And if you wanted to get the link for this article, one thing I do like to point out is if we click on the title and we got to this page, and you can also get to this by clicking on the PDF, along the side here it says permalink. If you try to use this link, it expires. It's got what we call a session ID, SID, and that has sort of encoded in it the date and time and place that you accessed it, and it'll never work again. So what you want is a permalink, and you always use this permalink if you're saving a bunch of links to articles. And I always like to say that because at the library, often we have people who've been researching for 2 hours and then come to us in tears because they couldn't get back to their articles. So that pretty much sets you up for doing research from the library. I want to remind you to Google Salve Library to get to the library webpage. And you should be all set to do your Management 120 semester paper research now.